Hey everybody, I'm Ashley.
I'm Graham.
And we're traveling teachers. And for those of you that don't know, I am 35 weeks pregnant, almost 36 on Tuesday. So we wanted to compare the prices and some of the differences between the American system and the Chinese system, at least from our expat experience so far. So Graham found a good video on Vox Videos about giving birth in the U.S. and the cost. So I thought we could watch that and learn a little bit, because we don't really know what it's like in the U.S. to give birth, but I don't really know what it's like to give birth here either.
Well, same.
Not yet.
Same.
But we do have some information.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna react and then we'll give you some more information about China afterwards and some updates from our latest appointments. Okay.
That's my wife. And she's pregnant. When you have a baby, there are a lot of costs to consider.
Car seat and a bassinet, a baby carrier, a thermometer.
Wait, but how much is the actual hospital birth gonna cost?
Healthcare in the U.S. is significantly more expensive than in other countries. And some experts say that this is partly because consumers don't go around looking for prices and comparing them between hospitals like they do when they're buying a car or anything else for that matter. So I decided to try it out and see if there was any way to discover in advance how much we would be paying for a baby's birth. The healthcare system
Is this just for the labor?
Yeah.
There's no way I'm the only person who's ever had this
just
question.
Delivery.
Okay.
Childbirth in the United States is the #1 reason why people go to the hospital. Almost 4 million women are going to give birth this year, and most births are relatively uncomplicated. So you would think that with such a common procedure that the price would be generally well known. I wanted to know how much childbirth usually costs, so I did what any good child of the internet would do, and I found a really disturbing study from Yale Medical School. It analyzed almost 800,000 low-risk deliveries in the U.S., looking at the variation in costs just for the facilities, meaning the hospital room and the supplies and stuff like that. For just the cost of the hospital room, this study found that the price varied between $1,189 to $11,986. So I realized that I'm going to have to ask this specific hospital where my wife is giving birth if I'm going to figure this out.
Birth.
Every hospital has a giant list they call the Charge Master, which details all the services they provide and what they cost. And each item and service in the hospital has a code. If a doctor spends 20 minutes with you, that's a different code and a different price than if they spent 40 minutes with you. Your insurance company then negotiates a lower price for every single item on the list. So when my wife goes into the hospital to give birth, the nurses will have a barcode scanner.
We're not having a baby in the US.
Scan in every item she touches. Everything from the IV tubes to the ibuprofen gets scanned onto the bill. At the end of it all, they put all the codes onto one piece of paper which they call a claim, and they send it off to the insurance. The insurance looks at it and pays a certain percentage based on my policy, and then the hospital then sends the remaining balance to me. So I figured if I could get my hands on this master list of prices, I could just add up the price of the delivery, right? Well, it wasn't that easy. I called the hospital where Isabel's going to give birth, and I got a message machine. So I decided to call around to some other hospitals to see if anyone could give me some general pricing information about the cost of birth. Alright, so my wife's pregnant. Because my wife is pregnant, but my wife will be giving birth. My wife's pregnant, and I'm trying to get an idea of how much different services cost, items that would be on a bill, different costs associated with the labor and delivery.
Oh, okay, one moment.
Okay, give me one second. Let me talk to my team lead.
Certainly. Let me connect you with the billing office.
I can connect you to our financial coordinator.
All I have to do is transfer you to the pricing line.
I can transfer you.
Well,
No,
It's not my responsibility, it's somebody else.
Line or something. I don't know. They're transferring me somewhere. Answer the phone.
I will be out of the office until Monday, February 8th.
I'm gonna hang up and try this again.
You've reached the voicemail of Patient Priceline.
I will be out of the office, returning on February 18th.
Say things like coverage date.
Just to get a price.
I'm just trying to see if I can get a number.
You will not get a copy of that until after the procedure is done.
Okay. Do you have that information though, in terms of how much certain items cost?
No, they will not present the cost until after.
So there's literally no way for me to discover what the cost is until after I buy it. Is that right?
We do not keep that information on hand. Everything is processed after.
Certainly that information exists in your hospital system somewhere.
The itemized copy, all of that information is done after the procedure.
After.
I haven't heard a single number from anyone about how much anything costs. Whew, this is actually starting to become frustrating. Okay.
So you really that surprised though?
Finally, after
No,
2 weeks
probably
and
not.
30 phone calls, I got a hold of a
why he's
pricing
doing this video.
consultant from the hospital where Isabel's going to give birth.
I finally just got a call back from a pricing consultant, and I wasn't able to record it because she called me out of the blue. She had taken down all my insurance information and was able to run it through her system and come up with an estimate quote. And finally, for the first time in 2 weeks, I heard a number. She said that I would be paying $347 for my wife's birth. She wasn't able to give me a breakdown of what that meant or any items specifically. She was able to only give me that number.
And then one day, this happened.
I think Izzy might be going into labor. Here we go.
It's very calm.
Yeah.
Oliver was born with no complications and a 2-day stay in the hospital. All very typical. Well, I got the bill back in the mail.
The insurance negotiated a lower price.
Oh.
So the bill that came to
Insurance? No.
The kid doesn't like
So
insurance.
we got the final bill back, and the hospital charged $16,000. The negotiated price with the insurance company was $8,000. They covered 90% of it and sent
Negotiated
us a bill
price?
for $841.
Negotiated
That's
price.
$500 more than the pricing consultant had quoted me for an uncomplicated typical birth, which is what Isabel had. Our healthcare system suffers from a big problem, which is that there's huge variation in cost. But what seems to me is the bigger problem is the fact that us consumers have no tools to find out where we fall in that pricing variation. The hospital down the street could be a fairly cheap hospital, or it could be an extremely expensive one. It could be 10 times more than the cheap ones. You have no idea, and there's no way to tell. And hopefully someday this will change. But in the meantime, we got a really cute baby out of this whole thing, so I'm not complaining.
It's cute. The box.
Thank you for calling Patient Priceline. At this time, we are assisting other callers, but your call is very...
All right.
All right. Let's stop the recording.
So to first explain the system in China, we need to talk about the difference between private hospitals and public hospitals. So public hospitals are where most Chinese people go. I want to say the cost of giving birth is about $1,000, $2,000.
Yeah, it's pretty inexpensive.
The reason we didn't go with a public hospital, the care in public hospital is great, but there is a lot of people. Actually, Graham and I were gonna film public hospitals the week of the pandemic starting.
Yeah.
Back in January, and then we realized like, I don't think we should be going to hospitals.
We didn't want to go anywhere near hospitals
No.
at that time.
So we were gonna show you what a public hospital looks like. I've been a couple times and I almost had a panic attack because there were so many people and it was so confusing and I did not want to be there. No offense to the system here. It was just very overwhelming because I was also by myself.
I mean, they're also really great doctors, I imagine, at
Yes.
the public hospitals. I mean,
Especially in Beijing, some of the best doctors work at the private hospitals. So if I were truly sick, I would want to go to a private hospital, fears or not. So that being said, it's cheaper at the private hospitals, and it's covered by Chinese national insurance. Whereas we're on private insurance, which our school pays for. And we're not covered for maternity with our private insurance. So that being said, we opted for a private hospital. So we did have to shop around for that.
yeah. And I was kind of surprised by the car analogy in the video because, they said like most Americans don't shop around for for the delivery, for the labor in hospitals and such, and yet I know Ashley did. She's quite the planner, so she did do a lot of research into that. I imagine, with the video, it is frustrating when you actually do look into it because you get the runaround from a lot of different hospitals. You can't come to a solid number.
Yeah, there's
with the cost.
no clear cut way of knowing what each item costs. Like, people don't know after. That guy is so rude. Yeah, so we'll provide some links in the description if you're curious as to more about what the cost of giving birth in China is like here. So we bought a package, which means we bought prenatal care and delivery together. So the most expensive package that you can get in Beijing is Beijing United Family, which is a really good expat hospital. I usually go there for most appointments. But the cost for giving birth and for prenatal care was about $12,400. And as I mentioned, we are not covered under maternity insurance, so that was kind of out of the picture for us. We opted for a place called Harmonicare, which our friends recommended. And we also have friends that have delivered with the doctor that we have, Dr. Guy. And we paid $7,000 for, I want to say 13, I'll check in just a minute.
13, I think.
13 appointments, and 3 days at the hospital for delivery.
So yeah, that's all in. Except for, of course, C-section is a little bit more expensive, but seems to be a little bit more expensive no matter where you are in the U.S. or in China.
Yeah. So I was given these sheets like when we did tours. I'll show you in a minute the details. But basically it gives me the breakdown of what each appointment costs and what each appointment is going to be. And so by itself, if I wanted to buy just the 13 appointments, no, it's more than, no, okay, so it is 13 appointments. If I wanted to buy just the 13 appointments, it would be 25,000 kwai, and Graham will put up a currency exchange.
That's like $3,500, 33.
He'll put up the exchange rate.
Yeah.
25,000 kwai for just the 13 appointments.
Yeah.
And the delivery, and it comes with 3 days of stay at the hospital, is about 50,000 kwai, and C-section is about 70,000 kwai. So it was in our best interest to buy a package deal.
And we got a special as well because it was the month of their, what is it, their anniversary. I was going to say their birth, but that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so I think we got a little bit extra in our package. So we paid more than the price listed on the website. But we also, I think we got the cost of how much it would be for the doctor's appointment as well. And so far, each time we go into the hospital, we paid up front a lot at that one time, and then since then we just sign a piece of paper that says, okay, yes, we
it's super easy.
We did this today, and you probably heard me mentioning the doctor was saying that we get like 7 or 8 ultrasounds, which is a lot, I think. But it's been great seeing the progress and knowing what's happening, and I like knowing that my hospital that I've been going to for my checkups is the same hospital that I'm going to for the delivery. I'm very comfortable there.
Because you form like a relationship with the hospital or with the doctors and nurses and whatnot. So, of course, seeing them every time. I really did not understand the insurance. I don't understand American insurance, but we don't have insurance for maternity right now. And so this package deal, this is for without insurance, of course.
Yeah. So the thing that kind of floored me was the hospital's price was somewhere around $18,000, and then the negotiated price was half that. So I want to know.
16.
Yes. Oh, what did I say? 18?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's all good.
The hospital's price was $16,000, and then the negotiated price was somewhere around $8,000. So I want to know, like, what are they bargaining? Why is the price difference so big? that just floored me. So it all depends on your insurance and the luck, the draw of what hospital is nearby. But they only have to pay $800 or $900.
Yeah, but who knows what the prenatal visits,
True.
how much those cost? Because the price that we're telling you guys is the all-in, you know, with the prenatal visits and the labor. So of course we're kind of comparing different things, I guess. But you know, we want to try to get a pretty clear idea of how much it would cost in the United States. And of course, it seems like that the answer to that is that it varies. It's impossible to come to an exact number. But what I love about China is that there is an exact number. You know, they tell you directly on their website, on the very front of the very first page of the website, you can find the details.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a business here as well, so there could be random extra costs after the delivery. But for the most part, we've paid for everything, and we'll update you guys on what the billing process is like after the delivery, because we can't really compare just yet. But yeah,
I think that's about it. All right.
Now we'll show you clips of our latest appointment, or our latest appointments. It's been a while. We don't know why it's beeping. So we haven't been the best about filming because a lot of appointments are the same, but about 2 weeks ago we found out that my blood pressure is just a little bit high. And so I've been monitoring that for the past 2 weeks. Currently I'm 32 weeks and 5 days, 32 weeks and 6 days.
What's that sound?
I don't know. It's not the baby's heart rate. It's just the yellow thing in the corner. And that stops. It happened again a couple minutes ago. I don't know what it means. I don't know. So anyway, this morning my blood pressure was showing to be a little high, so the hospital had me come in, so we're currently here. And it's still moderately high. I mean, I'm not in hypertension yet, but it's close-ish, close enough to be monitored, I guess. So now I'm currently doing like a fetal heart rate monitoring. So we have to do this for the next 20 minutes or so. Just landing in our chair. Yeah, we had to cancel our classes, which is a little bit stressful, but at least they're online currently, so we can actually do that. And the parents were pretty understanding about that, so it's good.
No umbilical cord tied around the head.
Yeah, neck.
Neck. She's not strangling herself anymore.
We think.
Sorry, bad joke.
羊水多少？我看啊，羊水 amniotic fluid also index normal 啊，给他。
So I'm not quite sure if you understood what was happening, but we...
I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Explain it.
But we just found out that the baby's umbilical cord is no longer wrapped around her neck anymore, so that's some really good news. For the past 2 times, it's been wrapped around her neck. So today we had an optional ultrasound. I think the doctor said we get 1 more. So I think total I've had 5 or 6. I don't even remember anymore. So I think next time will be the 7th. and I think we can choose when we want to do that ultrasound as well. So it's good that we get so many ultrasounds so I can find out what's going on. And now we're waiting. I asked to see one of the delivery rooms. It's a little bit different here, so I wanted to show you guys. We saw it once when I was like 13 weeks when I first signed up for our package. And we definitely weren't filming at the time because we weren't even sure if we were going to be here or what we were doing. But now we're definitely delivering here, so yeah, figure we might as well show you around a little. Okay.
你要有问题的话可以问我。
If you have any questions, you can ask me.
For after, right?
This is the after, yeah.
Not during.
Right.
And with that,
Enjoy.
see you later.